The effect is catastrophic, the impact deadly, and the consequence is crying and wailing. This is the story of various incidences of collapsed building across Lagos State. The scene of building collapse is most times depressing, with a combination of despair and despondency. It is always so sad that one would wish it never happened. The history of collapsed building in the States dates back to a distant past. In recent times, however, there were collapses of building at Synagogue Church and at Lekki Gardens. In the incidents, lives and properties were lost. Unfortunate as these are, it is more regretful that building collapse is a man-made problem and therefore avoidable. It does not require a professional to know that the use of substandard materials and quacks whatsoever cannot produce a quality job. The collapse of the 4-floor structure located on Mercer Street, Itafaji, at Lagos Island on Wednesday, 13th March 2019 was yet another unfortunate development in this direction. It is a very painful occurrence in view of what Governor Akinwumi Ambada's administration has done to rid the state of such ugly and highly avoidable incident.
I want to commiserate with the families of those that have actually lost their life in this collapsed building. I want to quickly let Lagosians know that this is quite an unfortunate incident, and from what we have observed here and what have been briefed, we already have almost about 2 floors sunk into the ground. The first observation is that the foundation of this building collapses. It's an old building, and just like what you have seen, like 2 floors have gone under the ground. So it's only the penthouse and the other floor that we're able to use to rescue people. I just want to appeal to people, when we are doing response to this kind of work, sympathizers, yes, they will naturally come, but I want to appeal to everyone that they should give the rescue workers a chance to save more lives. Like we have said, this area will be undergoing a lot of integrity tests with the buildings in this neighborhood. And as you can see, some of them have been marked for demolition. We get resistance from landlords, but we must continue to save life, and we will intensify our efforts to see that those that have failed our integrity test will make sure that they are quickly evacuated, and we bring these structures down.
To manage the situation, the administration immediately activated its emergency response plan, leading to the rescue of a greater number of victims. It also provided free medical services to all those who were rescued at the state's medical facilities where they were taken. It is gladdening that almost all those injured have been discharged from the hospital.
There is no other way to describe the incident as being very unfortunate. It wasn't supposed to happen. It was preventable if everybody played their part. Government played its part to the best of its knowledge. It takes two hands to make a handshake or to make a clap. And where you expect cooperation from the public, if you had gotten it, particularly from the homeowners, you would have prevented that collapse from happening in the structural ramification.
However, for an administration that takes full responsibility for protection of every life and property in the state, this occurrence again posed a challenge to the determined efforts of Lagos State government to ensure that construction is done in line with the rules and regulations laid down by Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development through its agencies, the Lagos State Building Control Agency, LAPCA, and Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority, LASPA. Without doubt, the major causes of building collapse include the use of quacks instead of professionals, building contrary to approval granted, illegal conversion or expansion of old structures, and use of fake or substandard materials. At Lagos Island in particular, construction on weekends by artisans when planning and enforcement officers are not at work complements these ugly developments. The rubbles of the collapsed structures tell so much about this. It shows the substandard mixture of the concrete pillars and even the blocks used in the construction of the collapsed structures. Of a truth, such an act is a deliberate but criminally crafted idea of indigenous minds to maximize transient profit at the expense of precious lives. And of course, it has always been an invitation to crisis. For the records, the building that collapsed was already identified as distressed and defective and marked for demolition along with other similar structures, totaling 149 houses. But obviously, pulling down such structures has its own processes and challenges.
It's not all red marks that mean demolition. Some of them are contraventions that can't be redressed. Some buildings may need rehabilitation. Before you get to the extent of demolition, you must have obtained some prior steps, serving notices to the owners or developers, and in the process doing some kind of integrity test, non-destructive integrity test. So where the defectiveness is such that we entail removal, then the process of removal will commence. The law is that if we are to take a building out by process of demolition, the notice is not more than 21 days. And within that 21 days, you are expected to evacuate that place. And we seal it up and get it ready for demolition.
Of all the processes, the need to engage those that would be affected by demolition and get their support and buy-in is critical to the proposed demolition. This strengthens the position and commitment of the government to their welfare and further proves the administration as running a responsive government.
First appeal is to tell our people, to know that yes, government has provided this facility to take care of the immediate, need of everybody that was affected by the unfortunate incident on the Lagos Island. And then, the demolition that is going on, we know a lot of people are affected. Rather than send people to the street, the government has provided the facility to house them. Yes, there will be a full complement of staff, who of course will live here with them. The staff quarter is also built within these premises. They will live here with them. I will also be here to put my eyes on everything they do here, because they are our brothers and sisters, and Lagos care for its citizens. So we will always be here. I've been here for 4 days, for instance, to ensure things are in better shape. And I will be here until I'm sure, yes, we are ready to take them. For now, I'm happy. The situation is better now.
Already, Government has opened its 2 relief and resettlement camps at Agbowa and Igondo to those who were involved in the last building collapse. For those who may be eventually affected by the demolition, the facilities would also serve as temporal abode where they will take refuge up till the time they will have another accommodation.
The arrangement here has been so done in such a way that we have like 8 persons, maximum per room. And then as more people come, we will be able to expand them. But basically, you expect that if there's a family of 5, they will be in one separate room on their own so that they can bond together. But the facilities, that dining facilities, for example, is a very large hall. They can take over 800 people at the same time, and they will work it out for that. So everything in terms of health and safety of those who are going to be here have been taken care of. The most important thing I need to stress is that it is one of the best international practices is that whenever you are evacuating, you provide a relief. This must be emphasized, that Lagos State government is operating by international best practice by arranging this facility to ensure that those who are affected by the demolition are not just thrown onto the streets. We are taking them in, we intend to take care of them, give them the right environment to be able to operate so that the trauma of losing a home is mitigated instantly. And this is very important because we know there are several NGOs who have been addressing press conferences insinuating that we do not have this kind of facility or arrangement. And now with this development, they can see very clearly that being a proactive government with very strong populist pedigree, we respond to the needs of our people first. And that must be sent as a message that this has been done, not due to any other thing, but because we know and we are conscious of the fact that when we demolish, we need to take care of our own people.
We are ready for the residents who are coming in, take care of them. We have the clinic, which of course will take care of their basic medical needs. Now we'll be relating with the Igondo General Hospital, who will take referrals from here. We've spoken to the medical directors there, and we are very sure we are covered by their cover. So if you take any of the residents here who have any medical issue, if you check them and we know it's beyond what the facility here can take, then we'll move them to Igondo General Hospital, of course, where better facilities are available. We also have the canteen here, cafeteria. We'll open this as soon as residents come in because government has also approved that we feed them 3 times in a day, breakfast, lunch, and of course dinner. So the canteen will be operational fully, and we will feed all people. You also saw our store. We will give each occupant of this camp basic needs: toiletries, paste, clothes, and what have you, to ensure that at least they live well while they are within this camp.
Drawing from the experience of the prolonged legal process relating to the collapsed building at Synagogue and Lekki Gardens, government needs to devise faster and more acceptable means of dealing with these negative cases. This is because every time a building collapses, government is often blamed instead of the unpatriotic and unscrupulous developers for the woes that befall the victims.
Èkó náà la wà tẹ́lẹ̀ náà kó tó di pé wọ́n sọ pé ká wá sí Ìgàndò. But èmi náà jẹ́ èèyàn kan number 1 tí mo sọ pé mi wá sí Ìgàndò pé ibi tó jìn ní kinní kan bákan àwọn kan ṣáà complain. But tá mọ̀ pé ibi tó máa fi wá sí ibi tó máa jẹ́ ibi ìrọ̀rùn tó yẹ pé environment ẹ̀ gan in fact ó wà okay. Tẹ́ pé mi gan tí mo dé bí báyìí gan mo tẹ̀ like n tẹ̀ fẹ́ padà lọ sí Èkó mọ́ because mo like ibi everywhere ṣe rí. Clinic ni mo ti ń bọ̀ sí wọ́n treat wa wọ́n fún wa lóúnjẹ wọ́n ṣe everything iná wà everybody wà nínú yàrá wọn kò sí pé bóyá ń yọra wa lẹ́nu kò sáriwo kò sí nǹkan kan ó yàtọ̀ sí Lagos Island àti wá.
Èmi máa ń fọ aṣọ ni mo dẹ̀ máa ń ṣe alágbàfọ̀ mo máa ń ṣe. So ìgbà tí accident lè ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Tabadi ládùúgbò wa wọ́n ṣe pé àwa tó fẹ́ wọlé wa ká máa bomi ìbà fúngbà díẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ lè àṣìṣe wa àdèdè ìbà mi dẹ̀ wá okay wọ́n tọ́jú wa dáadáa à ń jẹ àwọn à ń sùn kò sí problem.
Not bad, it's good, the environment is good, and the food they are giving us is better. I can see it's good. What I can talk about is the compound is fine, and they've been giving us lights. You understand? And all the workers here, they are good people. We live like we are one family. In the morning, we do exercise. I do exercise. Then we clean the environment, because once you are living in one place, you have to neaten the place. So people come out. I call them to come out. They should come and do the cleaning, so you can see the environment is clean. Thank you very much. I appreciate, and God will bless government and those people that are working with government too. Almighty will be with them. Long life and prosperity.
Reason why government needs to address the culture of profiteering, compromising of quality, using of substandard materials, and building without permits by developers, all of which sum up to the violation of the rules and regulations for undertaking any form of construction in the state. Unfortunately, government cannot do it alone.
To prevent building collapse is to ensure that there's professionalism in building. So what the government does is to ask people to come and obtain planning permit. We have our district offices all over Lagos State. The drawing that is brought to our district office must have the stamp of the registered architects. So that automatically puts in professionalism. And that is what the law carries the responsibility for making that drawing. Then at different stages, we ask for the certificate of structural stability, particularly when we are dealing with as-built existing building, building that has been there before they submit the application for approval, which we consider, and we at that stage, we ask for certificate of structural stability, which the structural engineer, duly registered and licensed by his professional body, will undertake. These are the things we put, and close monitoring, constant monitoring, which we have upscaled to be 24 hours now.
It is good that both the owner and developer of the building that collapsed have been called upon to submit themselves for interrogation, but the people really need to rise, partner and support the government to checkmate the illegal activities of these criminals. No matter how many personnel government employ or engage to monitor violations of the law and ensure compliance, it cannot be as effective as when people who live in the community monitor such violations and report same to the relevant government agencies. The same applies to illegal conversion or use of buildings for purposes other than for which approval was granted. The location of school in residential building is a gross abuse of the physical planning law. The school that operated on the 4th floor of the building that collapsed obviously could not have passed through due diligence required for the establishment of such institution. For the benefit of public knowledge, the 4 basic procedures necessary for the establishment of a school are: first, conduct a name search. Second, the Ministry of Education conducts site inspection. Third, the Ministry of Education embarks upon an approval inspection visit. And fourth, the sponsors to obtain an application form for approval of school. To combat the menace of indiscipline and willful disobedience of the law, Lagosians must forge a formidable partnership with the government towards ensuring the elimination of such illegal activities and protect the lives and properties in the state. Those who continue to indulge and protect those that break the law might end up being the victims of their wicked acts.
Before the Tavaji incident, in our proactive measures, we have pinpointed 149 across the state. 48 of such are in the Lagos Island. And we did phase 1, where we removed 40 distressed buildings. So we are going on to the second one when this incident happened. So we didn't wait until one collapsed before moving. However, the incident made our work easier, because rather than the resistance, a number of families have written to us, they have phoned us that they are ready to remove their houses, but whoever wants to remove his or her house on the basis of defects must still come to us to obtain demolition permit, because just as building requires professional technical input, demolition also requires.
It is also gladdening that government set up a committee to look into and investigate the incident critically. It is hoped that the report of the committee would help in reinforcing government's commitment to putting a stop to the menace. It is also hoped that government can explore the vehicles of community-based institutions like the Community Development Associations, CDAs, and Community Development Committees, CDCs, in monitoring construction sites across the state. For Governor Akinwumi Ambode's administration, the lesson from this tragedy is that the task of saving the lives of our neighbors, including children, is a collective duty of all the citizens. The administration hereby calls on Lagosians to adopt zero tolerance against building control violations so that our children can live to be our future.